let's just get started. So,
Do
just a
it.
quick question off the top. What inspired you to become a filmmaker in the first place?
Oh wow. I think there's a number of things. I come from a small family in Mexico City that was very immersed in the arts uh, on different levels. My grandma was a theater actress. My grandpa was a journalist. He covered entertainment and culture. And both my parents met working in a TV studio down here in Mexico City. So I feel like to some extent I've been surrounded by sort of like people um, that have been dedicating the entire lives to the arts. So I think probably like the very first spark came from my family, and then I we moved to the States. I think a lot of it. Sorry, this is gonna get so profound so quickly. No, but a lot of it I think has to do with after I moved to the States. I didn't speak English very well, and I was very shy. Uh, I I've just always been a shy person, so I think that in addition to not being able to communicate properly made me become really introverted and really introspective. And I think that's when in high school I turned to photography and fine art. I did a lot of painting. I did theater, like behind the scenes theater, like assistant directing work in my high school. And I think uh, all of these skills that I was developing eventually I had to make a decision about what I wanted to do professionally, what I wanted to study for. And I realized that film was the one medium that would allow me to still sort of like keep my toe dipped in all of these different disciplines. So there's obviously photography and music and acting and theater and a lot of art concepts that apply to film. So I figure that would be the best way to make a decision and not make a decision, so I could still explore all these things that were interesting to me. Uh, and then I went to film school, and I guess that's another story. But more or less, I think those are the 2-3 factors that led me to pursuing film.
And so, what advice would you give to aspiring young filmmakers who are trying to get their ambitious projects made in this industry?
Uh, what advice would I give? I think I the advice I would give, I mean, it's very particular to like my experience. So not to say like, hey, do this and you'll be good. But I decided early on as I was making music videos, I was making short form content that that I was going to try to pursue making the things that I wanted to make, whether I got an opportunity to make them or not. And if that meant shooting videos on my phone, and if that meant shooting videos, I did shoot a lot of videos on my phone, and they're some of my favorite videos. Uh, I if that meant working with a tiny crew and then having to work nights and weekends to be able to use production resources that I wouldn't have otherwise. But it was essentially, I think, my friends and I, the my small circle of collaborators who I went to film school with, we established this like no excuse filmmaking philosophy, where it was just like, look, we need to get experience. We need to be able to do the projects that fill us and that feel exciting and motivating to us. And it's likely that we're not going to get a lot of opportunities or a lot of money to do these because we're young and we haven't proven ourselves. So let's just figure out what we're going to need to do these in the most independent of ways, and in a ways that uh, we try to not have just follow our gut in terms of like what's exciting and what's inspiring, and And we that led to a really creative time in my life, which were like my late 20s, in which I was working on projects that were really exciting, working with people that I really respected. And that is really how I connected with David. And that is sort of like how the next chapter of my life was unlocked. So that philosophy was very healthy and very helpful for me. And of course, you know, there's real life that you have to deal with, and not everyone is able to just dedicate their lives to just pursuing these passion projects. But I feel like if you're able to find that balance, and if you're able to pursue these kinds of projects that like really get your blood pumping, and really get you excited, I feel like that just starts unlocking all these other opportunities, and you'll start meeting the people that you need to meet, the people, the like-minded people that you're going to end up collaborating with, and getting the kinds of projects that are really going to get to showcase your voice. Um, so for me, that was the most important decision that I could have made as a young filmmaker. And again, not to say that that is what I feel like everyone should do, but that really enabled me to start finding my creative voice, and I think that was invaluable. So whether it's that or something else that allows you to do that, to start exploring the things that really um, feel meaningful and important to you, I feel like that's probably what I would say.
Here, and just for the final few questions, I guess. So like looking forward to your future projects, you have quite a robust slate in terms of like larger projects like Raya and the Last Dragon and a few other animated films up your sleeve. So what is it like moving from kind of smaller productions like these to kind of full on more like studio backed pictures? And like, do you ever see yourself coming back to kind of a smaller films like Summertime?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of, I mean, film works the same way, and it's funny how no matter the amount of funds and resources that you have, you're going to be running into the same problems, which is, you know, you're not going to have enough time, you're not going to have enough money, and then you're going to have to bend over backwards to make sure that the story that you're telling can still be told with whatever, you know, limited resources you have. So obviously it's very new and very different for me to be working at a studio. And Raya, for example, had a crew of like 500 plus people. The studio has 900 people, and sometimes, you know, all of them get to work on the movie in one way or another. So that's completely impossibly different from the summertime experience. But I feel like my upbringing in independent filmmaking really did teach me a lot of really valuable filmmaking lessons that I'm still applying in like the bigger projects that I have done. Um, and for that reason, I really hope, and I mean, I will figure out a way to continue doing independent projects, because I think the way that they ground you, and I think the perspective that they give you, and the creative, by being limited and by being constrained, I feel like the creative decisions that you have to make are so much more unexpected and surprising. So I for that reason, I really hope to keep doing that. um, I'm happy at Disney, and honestly, I found a place that was so interested in telling the stories that I wanted to tell, and supporting me as a filmmaker, and the stories that excited me. So I cannot complain, because I'm just very happy there. But I would definitely love to bounce back and forth, because I feel like uh, I'll never be able to like move away from my indie roots. So hopefully, yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I can do a documentary in the next few years. I'm gonna try to keep making music videos, so hopefully there'll be a nice balance there.
Yeah, but no worries. It was honestly, it was great to hear that coming from you. So anyways, thank you so much for coming on board. And again, Summertime was incredible. I loved
Okay.
your direction, just how you just I love how like dynamic your direction is both in Blind Spotting and in Summertime as well. And again, I can't wait to see your future projects as well. So thank you so much for coming on board here, and have a great
Thank
rest
you,
of your
Diaz.
day.
Nice talking to you, and I'm sure hopefully we'll talk again soon.